So this is cardio again. It's generating a drive of the oxygen into the body, but it's also cardiovascular, so it's heart. So the main framework is that you understand how your body interacts with the ether and how you interact with being. And so it's your life force or your metabolism is inside the body of your water, and it as you move through it, you can get a certain level of like excitement, right? And it's that excitement, that drive that people get of like, oh, I want to win that race, or I want to look good in that bikini, or I want to. That strong desire is love. And so as the surface of being washes over you, as you do that exercise, especially in the area that you want to love, so like if you're fat in some area or you're unathletic in some area, you're like wanting to love that, to bring it back to life. And so that you can't make any progress at anything without that like sort of authentic, zesty feeling. And if it depression is when that zesty feeling is taken away, of like you're not really adding any vitality to any of your experiences, and all you can feel is like what's around you. That depression is there to fix the alignment so that you're not using your love to ignore, offset, or plow through other waves. So like while you're depressed, you can really only do low-key Tai Chi stuff, but that stuff doesn't work alone. The receptiveness, the listening, the depression, which is also trying to receive what things are. It doesn't work alone. You have to be able to feel the waves that you feel during the depression, and then also have the exuberance, the love, the passion, the drive, and the desire to sort of launch off the waves that are there. To do the absolute high end of performance requires the listening, but it also requires the exuberance and the love to really like pop. And so younger people have a ton of that love, which is why you can tend to plow through anything, and it doesn't really matter what else is going on. And then as you lose that, you have to start listening more and more and more, because otherwise you just get absolutely pounded. And so then you get this hierarchy instructional thing of where society is functioning best when the elders, or the people that are like most elder, have the capability of transmitting their understanding of wave mechanics, of reality mechanics, to people who still have an abundance of love, which is just what keeps you alive. It's not even bad to lose self-love. Like self-love is the vibrance and the exuberance of heart that makes any technique work, whether or not it's aligned. Like if you have enough self-love, you can just like it doesn't matter the waves come, like boom, self-love, I'm here. But if you acquiesce to particular waves in addition to the self-love, you can start to do super cool stuff like surfing or athletics or acro or sports or what have you. And so that self-love diminishes over time, and when it's gone, you die. Or you like, if you lose total love for yourself, you just die. Which I seem to be possibly. And so in that death, in that death is it's like when the sensitivity to the waves or to consciousness develops. And so that's why, like with any, like whenever you undergo a death process in life, the the depression or the withdrawal of the self-love from the area reveals, or you suddenly become sensitive to the currents at large, because that's the only thing moving you. If you withdraw completely from something, the only thing left moving you is God. So you see people getting a level up in the wisdom anytime that they go through a death ordeal. But that's all tied into cardio, and so cardio is literally like if you wanted to picture it at the ether level, as you breathe in, that breathing in and that pulling in is little bubbles of oxygen. It's also emitting little CO2s, and so you can pull that in and try and get it like frothy. And so you can spool up like the big heart pump, like going for a jog. And if you're going for a jog driven to win the contest at the end of the thing, then you can, that's a lot of self-love, like, or to do the pranayama, to do the yoga, so that you become enlightened, so that you know, that's all the self-love spooling up. And then the transcendent love is the energy at large. And so it's like people try and be like, well, oh, you're just supposed to pretend like you're dead and just floss. It's like, no, it's just like you have your self-love, and that's done to swim and to see that aligning with the currents at large, rather than denying that they exist or fighting stuff. You can have a ton of free will, which is like swimming, and then also be pushed by a wave. There's no reason to not be capitalizing on any sort of external wave flow. And again, it's like this is something that the society has to recognize and establish as essential. And then the degree to which the younger, more alive, more self-loving people in society, so that the youth, like, truly plugged in and tempered by the elders, and not just the elders in this generation, but the elders going back forever, right? Like, so if that gets, if people start discounting the past, there's no comprehension of the actual ether, which everybody has different conversations about, like, what wants to happen here, what's the true wave pattern here in this person, in this event, in this situation. Everybody's constantly talking about what's that, and then like what's an artificial willfulness, where you're like, you're being fake or you're changing thing. And it's just this, the self-love is the air, the bubbles, every little bubble of oxygen is like a tiny little atmosphere, and the will at large, or the God, is just one atmosphere, one body of water. So as you breathe in, you're creating tiny little like micro bubbles all the way through, and they kind of have this sudden they can go against the water, just like the waves in the water. It just kind of it's just the metabolism, it's just the life force. And so it's just all the different processes by which you can oxygenate, or pull more oxygen from the air into your specific compartmentalized, like, bubbles. That's like more or less 100% of the yang practice. And then the yin practice is to like study stillness, study death to the extreme. And if you use your metabolism, your self-love, your life force to stay up and mimic the surface of the being, so that's just good postural alignment. If you're right there at the surface, you can generate real waves in the truth at large. It's not your subjective truth, it's actually because of your adherence to the truth. Then when you move, it actually can generate big stuff, and that's different types of it's just strength. People look at that as strength, and it's similar to if you're playing in water and you throw your hand in and it goes like, if you're right there at the surface and you pull down on the surface instead of going too fast that you don't catch the surface, or too slow that it doesn't happen, you can pull the surface down dramatically, and that creates a big cavitation explosion, and that ripples out. So at the level of the breath, at the level of decision, like when you make those cavitations, those big splashes, that's where forceful movements or pops or wave motions come from. And so this is all like 100% natural. People get taught out of this, and that's why it looks like people have a harder and harder time learning new activities as they get older, and it's just because of the accumulation of improper ways of thinking about things. And so if you get your habits in a particular activity before you have this improper way of thinking about things, you have a residual habit and a talent, and you'll do that even though you think you're doing something else. And yeah, so that's cardio. That's the rundown on cardio.